Hi guys, Ancient Warrior, welcome back to Prepping in Free America. If you like what you hear here, then hit the subscribe button. If you want to be the first kid on your block to know what we're talking about next, what craziness we're talking about next, hit the bell icon with all. And I guess you can, from the picture here that you're seeing, you can kind of figure what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm going to be talking about, we're going to talk about the people I believe are the godfathers, godparents, godmothers of the modern prepping community, modern day prepping community. The first one we're going to talk about is a guy who's not even an American. His name is Momofuku Ando. And I went on the company's website, the company he founded, which was a Japanese company. Let's give you a little background about Mr. Ando. In 1910, he was born in Taiwan. After World War II, he immigrated to Japan, where he changed his name to Momofuku Ando. Now, the article I read did not give his original name. There may have been a reason behind that, may not. God only knows. But according to the legend that the company has out, must be doing the right thing. A bluebird just landed out here and is looking at me. So I must be doing the right thing today. Mr. Ando, according to the company bio on him, he is the inventor of the modern day dried noodles, ramen noodles. Now, you see my shirt. Manchurian was the number one. He started a company called Nissan Foods. Or Nissan Foods, I'm not sure what actual pronunciation. But Manchurian was their competitor. A friend of mine gave me this shirt, and I thought it'd be appropriate to wear today. Considering if it hadn't been for Mr. Ando, Manchurian, Shin Ramen, Top Ramen, Nissan Ramen, all these ramen noodle companies wouldn't exist the way they do today. So let's talk about ramen. Where did it come from? According to my research, it came to Japan by way of China in 1859. At that time, they were using what was considered a wet noodle. It was freshly made noodles. And they didn't last very long. They didn't have modern refrigeration to keep them. Now, I get wet noodles from time. I go down here to the Asian store and get wet, actual ramen noodles, like they would have used back then. And I'm not so sure sometimes I haven't gotten exactly the same noodles that they were selling back in 1859. because some of them were pretty cruddy. Now, let's speed forward to the future. Momofuku Ando claims that the reason he started working on the invention of the modern day ramen noodle was because he saw people after World War II in Japan suffering from starvation, from going hungry. Now, I've seen some accounts that kind of question that, which is fine. That's what life is all about, questions. It's when you find the true answers. But back to Mr. Ando. In 1958, he came up with the method of flash frying ramen noodles, then putting them into a plastic bag or a cellophane wrapper. And they'd last a pretty good length of time, a year or more. Now, I've got some ramen noodles in my supplies that I know are every bit of 2 to 3 years old. The reason they're able to survive and still have good taste is because I take my food saver that's right over here and a vacuum seal into bags. Now, I've been using some Ziploc bags. They're a little heavier and they're a freezer bag. And I can put 1 or 2 and suck the oxygen out. Now, Mr. Ando's thinking was that these noodles could help end world hunger. I agree. It probably could have. But too many people with other less than honorable intentions have found a way to not. When I first started buying Nissan or ramen noodle, top ramen, or getting ramen noodles, was back in the early 90s. I was driving a truck and I needed something that I could carry in the truck that didn't require refrigeration. If I'd have read the back of those things, I would never have used them the way I did. But I did. And I ballooned up. There's like, per package, almost 700 calories per little package of ramen noodles. That's a lot when you think about it. And I was eating 2 or 3 at a setting, and sometimes twice a day. If I knew then what I know today, I would never have done it the way I did. I love Asian cooking. I love Mexican food. I love Italian cooking. You know, if I can stick it in my mouth and it doesn't gag me, and I pretty much like it. Folks, I'm going to go through, we're going to do a complete series on ramen noodles. I'm also going to do a complete series on my idea of an MRE. Now, you're not going to be able to just open the MRE like the militaries and eat it out of the pouch, cold. You're going to have to cook it. But with that being said, let's get back to the subject at hand. Now, Mr. Ando, when I first started buying these things in the mid-90s, I was giving about 5 to 7 cents a pack. The other day, I was at Sam's. I picked up a box of 48 chicken noodles, chicken noodle ramen noodles, and I gave over $9 for it. They're about 20 something, 28 cents I believe is what I figured out. Now, that box had 48 of those packets. Now, is that 24 days worth of food? Or is it 16 days worth of food? Or is it 48 days worth of food? That's up to you. But let me tell you, one of the things that I will tell you is ramen noodles were never intended to be eaten by themselves. They were always to be added with vegetables, with mushrooms, and with other things. Now, I've ordered from my friends over at MRE Depot, I've ordered some Mariplox and other freeze-dried vegetables. Because, folks, I'm a vegetable fan. And the more vegetables you add to those ramen, the more filling. Now, you also need to come up with an idea of how to add protein to that. And I've told you, I'm on a big push for people to get as much protein in their homes as they can get. You know, carbs are easy to come by. But protein, not so much. Especially meat proteins. Later this week or next, we're going to do an unboxing. I got a box the other day from MRE Depot. And I know it's freeze-dried fruits. I love fruit. I can take freeze-dried fruit and eat it almost like candy. But back to the subject at hand. His idea was a very good idea. That's the reason I consider him as one of the godfathers, or the godparent, one of the godparents of the modern day prepper. Folks, not only did he come up with a product that will last a while, but it doesn't weigh anything. Weighs less than an ounce or two. You know, I think a ramen noodle pack weighs less than 10 ounces. And then you add freeze-dried vegetables, and maybe, you know, if you're like me, I just the other day saw, I went stupid. I'm going to tell you right now, I went stupid the other day. MRE Depot had freeze-dried shrimp. One can was over $80. And I went stupid and I ordered a can. Because I have a game plan of taking it, and if the shrimp are pretty good size, I'm going to chop them down and use them in my God, I'm going blank. In my seafood ramen, shrimp ramen. I also got some Aha tuna jerky, which will go in. Folks, what you're trying to do is make a little go a long ways. Now I've got a guy I know. We was one day talking at work about ramen noodles, and he declared that he hated ramen noodles. And I just kind of chuckled and asked him why, and he said his family was so poor that that's all they could afford, and he hates the taste of ramen. Yeah, you know, can't make everybody happy, but I'll bet you if things go south and he doesn't have anything to eat, and somebody offers him a pack of ramen, he'll chomp on it. Kind of like that guy up in New York says he doesn't like Spam. I'll bet if that's all he's got to nibble on, to fill that big hole in his belly, he'll eat it and enjoy it. I thought I had this on mute, but apparently I didn't. There we go. Now, we're going to end this right here. But I'm going to tell you, ramen noodles by themselves were never intended to be used by themselves with the flavor packet. They can be, but you know, I hate to say it, folks, they're not very damn filling until you add vegetables and meat protein. You know, you add something else to it. Now we're going to go over in the next few days what I consider a 1-day supply of food that you can carry in your bag, and it won't be that heavy. Matter of fact, I've started doing it in my work bag. And we're going to talk about lifeboat food. We're going to talk about the little bars, the Datex bars. They're called lifeboat food. Survival tabs. I've used them. Used both of them, matter of fact. And we're going to talk about them. With that being said, folks, eat lots of ramen. Get fat and enjoy your... No. Remember, folks, it's better to have this stuff and not need it than need it and not have it. I'm the Ancient Warrior, and we're out. And be blessed today.